first item, and you could send Councilor Kendall back in. Site development permit application number 344, proposed GM dealership. I have a motion.
Moved by Councillor Itzan, seconded by Councillor Lyson, that DP 344 be approved for Lot 1, Plan KAP 53032 in accordance with the site plan and elevations received October 4, 2007, and the landscaping plan received October 9, 2007. And further, that DP 344 include the following variances. Number 1, increase the maximum height of the principal building from 10 to 12 meters. And number 2, subdivision and development servicing bylaw, waive the requirement to extend and upgrade the city's sanitary sewer main to the subject property and along the 11th Avenue Northeast and 40th Street frontages, and instead install an on-site wastewater treatment system. Waive the requirement to extend and upgrade the city's storm sewer main to the subject property and along the 11th Avenue Northeast and 40th Street Northeast frontages, and instead install an on-site stormwater collection and disposal system. Waive the requirement to extend the city's water main along the entire 40th Street Northeast frontage, or to provide a 50% cash contribution in lieu. Waive the requirement to upgrade the entire 11th Avenue Northeast frontage to the local street and install curb, gutter, and sidewalk, but no street lighting along that frontage. And waive the requirement to upgrade the 40 Northeast frontage to the local road standard, and instead upgrade to the rural road standard, complete with the 7.3 meter wide asphalt paving and approved ditching. And further, that issuance of DP 344 be withheld subject to the following: Ministry of Transportation approval, and the owner providing a letter of credit in the amount of 125% for landscaping works required in accordance with the landscaping plan.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you, Worship.
In addition to the motion read by the Chief Administrative Officer, the staff recommendation is a little different in a couple of points. I'll just highlight, and then we'll move forward from there. Is it possible to get my computer up, please? Thanks. Just in terms of the motions for consideration, staff are not recommending that the water main variance be approved. And further, that there's an updated landscaping plan that includes I'll speak to that in a moment, 3 trees on the access route, as well as the applicants have provided for trees along the 11th Avenue frontage as well. And so Council should keep that under consideration as you move forward to the discussion under the motion for consideration. The subject property is located at 3901 11th Avenue Northeast, and the purpose of the application is a development permit to develop a new General Motors dealership, automotive service center on the subject property. There's a series of variances dealing with servicing, primarily because this is in a semi-rural area, as well as a height variance as well from 10 to 12 meters. On the screen is a rendering showing the proposal. The development itself will consist of the westerly about 2/3 of the site. The 11th Avenue frontage road is here, and 40th Street Northeast is in this location here. The remainder of the parcel is to remain vacant at this time and may be considered for future development would be required. In terms of moving through, these are the elevations of the building as shown in the rendering. And further to that was considered at first and second reading at that point in time, or at the meeting the other day. Staff is recommending 3 trees in this location, as well as council had recommended trees along the frontage. Since that time, this application has been provided, or this landscape plan has been provided, again showing trees along the frontage, as well as trees up here. And the applicant themselves can speak to the spacing of the trees as they propose. In terms of the building design, the site design, the landscape plan, all meet the requirements of the Highway Commercial Development Permit Area Guidelines. One of the differences is, and one of the things to highlight is that as required by the development guidelines, landscaping exists along the west lot line. There's a rural residential property to the west, as well as landscaping along the north lot line to provide a buffer with ALR property to the north. In terms of the variances, the building height from 10 to 12 meters, these are acceptable. in this location. The height itself will only be necessary for a portion of the building, not the entire building, to go to 12 meters. In terms of the servicing variances, the engineering report, staff report speaks to some of the rationale for those, and council have any questions, I'm sure the city engineer can speak to some of those as well. So in summary, the proposed development is more or less consistent with the highway corridor development permit area guidelines, and the building and site design as well as the landscaping plan is supported by staff as well as the variances.
Thank you. We'll be going 3 times for submissions from the public, giving the applicant the first opportunity. Calling you first time.
Mark Bannister, 3901 11th Avenue Northeast. So already an exciting.
Come more often now.
It's very safe to say I'll never be running for council. Your Worship, council people, thank you for my time tonight. My wife and I have owned Salmon Arm GM for the past 11 years. We've got about 35 employees and families that are dependent on their livelihood in our dealership. Salmon Arm GM, or Salmon Arm, the GM dealership, since the mid-1940s, and we've been on Adams Lake native Indian band land since 1986. As I stated last week, over General Motors franchise. General Motors is not invested in the building of the land. As a small business person, my wife and I are the owners and operators of that business. The reason I'm here tonight is we had a little fire back in January of this year, and unfortunately our service department was destroyed. And if not for the hard work and smart decisions made by our volunteer fire department, we lost the complete building. And the next morning when the smoke cleared, we had to make some decisions to make. So, what are we going to do going forward? Obviously, it's an immediate concern. We need to get customers looked after, we need to get our staff back up and working, and we're able to secure a temporary location. It took us about 90 days to put together, and we're working through that. It's not a situation, but it's not bad. Yeah, decide what we're going to do going forward. Obviously, we can stay in the van line where we're at right now. Again, lived in this town for 11 years, and to be here for the rest of my life. And I've got a young family. Hopefully, one day I'll be in the car business. And I felt in the best interest of my family and the families that work for me that we need to get to a bigger location and build for the future. Had some issues with that. Obviously, was what land available in town. We're on, again, First Nation land. I had 18 years left on the lease. With the insurance, your insurance is the same premise. Your building's destroyed, you can rebuild at that location, and that doesn't necessarily provide you can go somewhere else. So I had some obstacles we had to overcome with that. The first thing I did was meet with city staff, and it was very apparent that there really was only one for me if I wanted to move somewhere else, and that was the proposed site we're talking about tonight. It's highway commercial, has the proper zoning, and fit within the OCP development of our town. At that point in time, the requirement of me looking going forward was a cash contribution to upgrade 40th Street. Long story short, was able to work with the Adams Lake Indian Band to get out of our lease, and also able to work with the insurance company to relocate right now. This would allow us to move. So we'll put those things together, a couple of sleepless nights and lots of negotiation, and looking for said, all right, let's make a move on this land if we can get it going. So we took possession of the land on June 14th of this year, and on July the 3rd, we had some new bylaws come into effect, which henceforth we're talking about tonight. We've conformed to the new bylaws, except for the variances we're requesting. City staff has endorsed and supported the variances, as Mr. Paymont talked about, with the exception of the water main line. Design panel obviously has looked at the building and supported it, and again the business and the variances fit within the OCP. If I can talk briefly about the variances, the sanitary